How to instantly manage stress with one easy step. What's going on, guys? My name is Justin. Let's get to it, but first, show reel. I don't actually have one. But stress, it's a real factor, right? So many of my friends that I know and so many of my coworkers, they just love living in stress. But in order to manage stress, you must know what stress is. And stress is simply reality not fitting our image, right? So often we have these ideas and the way things should play out, when in reality, when you create that expectation is always greeted with disappointment. So the first thing you need to do is understand that not everything always follows the path that you so want. One of those things that can happen, for instance, so in my regular job, I am a realtor. And stress is something that all these realtors seem to love to live in, right? And they don't understand that when you set that expectation, set that image, and something happens, all of a sudden, that little bit of something that didn't fit your image is simply just a small thing. So, for instance, I'm working a deal right now, and my seller, turns out she had to pay a little bit more money than she was getting paid. And so what ended up happening is the deal is getting pushed back. So we were supposed to close, a week ago, and it's kind of drawn out a bit. So what's going on for my side is, well, it's out of our hands. There's nothing we could do. We have to just wait for this organization to kind of clear it. So that way my seller doesn't have to pay a bunch of money. And so it's kind of out of our hands. Whereas on the other side, on the buyer side, they're stressed. They wanted to close on the house, last week, but they didn't plan on moving in for a month. So we have a month's time. In the meantime, they are stressing, asking my seller that, she has to pay for all this stuff. I told my seller, don't worry about it. Well, it'll all take care, right? We just need to detach from that. Whereas on the buyer side, the agent is very stressed out because she was hoping to get the paycheck. Now, don't get me wrong, paychecks are nice, right? We do enjoy getting paid. But that stress that she is causing herself and the stress that her buyers are living in, it's causing a situation that's not ideal. Again, our expectations aren't being met, reality's not fitting our image, so there's stress there. So what do you do when stress comes knocking, when you have to acknowledge that there is stress? The one thing you need to do is just detach from everything, detach from it. It's gonna work out. The more you feed into the negativity, the more negativity is gonna follow, right? We always hear that, we always understand it. What your reality is a manifestation of your emotions, of your outlook, ultimately your perception of things, right? So the first thing you need to do whenever stress does come into life, or even before, is change your perception. Understand that reality is not always gonna fit your image, We have these things happen constantly. We just choose most of the time to feed it, right? In life, we are told that stress is just normal. We're told that if a lot of realtors, I feel like if they don't have stress, they don't have a life, right? Like they have to talk about the stress. They have to give it more and more power. And so you need to not do that. You need to understand that the more power you give it, the more power it's gonna have over you. The more bad things are gonna happen, the more negativity is gonna happen, the more you're just gonna fall into this downward spiral. And before you know it, that is your life. So change your perception. Remember, these things aren't big. These things aren't the end of your world. These things aren't the end all be all. There is more to life than that current very little situation. When you think about your life in the grand scheme of things, that little moment right now is just a blink of your existence. And so change your perception. Understand that sometimes bad happens, but good always comes from it, right? You can learn from all these stressful, bad situations. So whenever I talk about stress, especially to other realtors, they just don't understand it because their perception of things is quite different. But if you can manage that, if you can change your outlook on how things happen, on how things become, right? So often in, let's take, for instance, relationships and breakups. I remember breakups being a really bad thing for me, right? I always felt sad, felt depressed, felt angry, frustrated. You know, I was like, why did this have to happen? But when you look back on those breakups, you know, if you didn't just dive right into another relationship, if you took that time to kind of evaluate what happened, what did you learn, what can you improve on, you know, then all of a sudden the breakup's not a big thing. The breakup is a valuable learning experience. And sure, not everybody sees it that way. You know, obviously I've broken up with women and because of certain reasons, and they've kind of grown a hate towards me. But I always tell them, it's like, take this experience and learn from it, grow from it, become better from it. These bad things are valuable lessons to us, whether it's a job interview you didn't get, whether it is a relationship that fell apart, whether it is, you know, you didn't get that promotion, or a vehicle is having an issue, right? So just remember, your perception of things, if you choose to stay in the negative, more and more bad is going to happen, right? We manifest what our thoughts are on our subconscious level. So our conscious is constantly trying to create these things that affect us. But when you give that consciousness no power and you really understand like the end goal, the best thing I ever heard is your conscious and your subconscious are two lawyers fighting in a courtroom. And one is trying to keep you down, right? Your conscious is trying to keep you down, your surroundings, your environment, your current situation. And your subconscious is the thing trying to tell you that you deserve better, that you can get anything you want, and you really can get anything you want. This world is a conditioning, and your subconscious is trying to break that conditioning of fear, doubt, stress. And these two lawyers are just constantly going at it in the courtroom. And the one that wins is the one that you pay the most to, and they take their payment in focus. What you focus on, you become. So do you choose to focus on the negative, or do you choose to focus on the positive and know that you know, your current situation is temporary, and that you do deserve everything in life, that you do deserve to be happy, that you do deserve to be loved. So change your perception. Follow what you listen to. Listen to what your body is telling you. Are you stressed right now? Are you feeling like you aren't good enough? You know, tell yourself that you are good enough. Fall into your subconscious, and as we go through life, you know, all these things are conditioned into us. I remember my father always telling me, you got to make good money. You've got to work hard. You've got to save. And then eventually you'll retire, and that's when you can live a good life. That doesn't sound like a good life to me, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I do love being a realtor, but at the end of the day, I don't have the freedom to go and just do whatever I want, right? Like, life is valuable. Your time is insanely valuable. Do you choose to spend your time thinking of the negative? Do you choose to spend your time thinking of your current situation? Or do you choose to break that? Do you choose to understand that anything in life can be yours? If you want to be a multimillionaire, then just know you're going to be a multimillionaire. Don't let that conscious tell you that it's impossible, right? That is a fact. You have experienced that. What I just told you, you know. Choose to focus on every positive outcome possible. Whenever you start having these doubts, whenever you start falling into these stress habits, whenever you start falling into these negativities, what you got to do take that deep breath. Give yourself 5 minutes of just good deep breathing. And while you're doing that, just imagine how good your life will be, how good life is, and follow that habit. So I hope you learned something. If you did, feel free to give me a like. Comment down below if you've had some experiences, because I would love to learn, right? Let me know some things that you have done to break the habit of falling into those stressful, negative situations. But other than that, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys coming and spending the time here with me today, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.